Morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday, almost Thanksgiving, which is very exciting. Some of you probably aren't even going to be watching this today, huh? Obviously we have a crazy new, our whole school is virtual, so we'll see how that goes. But just to reiterate that if you guys ever want to join in on a live session, that would be first period, second period, fifth period, or eighth period for me, and I totally don't care. Just make sure that you follow the expectations, which I'm going to talk about with all of them. When you get on, your camera has to be on, but you should be muted, and you're basically only going to be talking if you have a question, not trying to distract other people in the room. If you do, then you're just gone. If you want to see me teach live and then be able to ask questions if you have them, you can totally do that too. All right. We are just going to quickly, just real quick today, talk about y-intercepts. So we talked about slope basically all last week, right? I'm going to jump over here. I know that the smart board's really hard to see on coming through there, so there we go. So we talked about slope all last week, which was how this line moves, right? So if I have a line and it goes something like this, right? The slope is how that rises and how that runs. So in this case, this line here, I know you probably can't see that very well. It's going to go up 2 over 3. So the slope of this line is 2/3. But another really important part of this graph is the y-intercept. All right, an intercept is where a line crosses the axis. So you have, each thing has a y-intercept, and it could have an x-intercept. All right, the x-intercept's where it's going to cross right here on the x-axis. The y-intercept's where it's going to cross on the y-axis. Now with our linear equations that we're going to be dealing with here, the y-intercept is the most important part for us. All right, we like to think of the y-intercept as the initial point, the beginning, the starting area, right? All of those things. So basically, if I'm looking at a graph, this point where x is 0, that's really significant. If x is 0, then our y value here is going to be our y-intercept. All right? And like I said, that's like a beginning point. So when we are looking at a situation where maybe I have a table of values, I'm going to make it pretty obviously to see here, I think. All right. If I want to know where my y-intercept is or where my starting point is, it's always going to be the point where x equals 0. You should probably throw that in your notes somewhere. All right. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and then in parentheses I'll just put x is 0. Perfect. This marker is pretty much trash. Let's see if I make this. Boom, 1 for 1 today. So, if I know where x is 0, that's going to tell me like my starting point, my initial value kind of thing. So in this case, I don't know when x is 0. But what I can do here, is I can work backwards. All right, so first of all, I need that idea of the slope. So in this case, my slope is going up 6 each time, it looks like. Up 6 as this goes up 1. Well, if I want to find where x is 0, I can go backwards. Right? This would be where x is 0. That means that if I go backwards 6 here, that would be negative 11. So my y-intercept here, ooh, and this is kind of a weird one. Y-intercepts, you can write it like this. That's probably an easy way to do it. You can either write it as just negative 11, or you can write the point 0, negative 11. Both of those are totally acceptable. And I got some bad glare today on my lights here. I'm sorry about that. Both of those are totally acceptable if you want to write it as just equals negative 11, or if you want to write it as 0.0, negative 11. All right. So if I'm looking at a story problem of some sort, I'm always looking for the part where it starts. So for example, let's say something like Tina babysits period. She gets $6 for gas money. And then $7 an hour. All right. So we know, because we talked a lot about slope last week, slope is the one that's talking about change. It's our rate of change. It's what's going up every time something's going over, right? So if we're talking about what one we're talking about is slope here, if you make $7 an hour, that means every hour you're getting $7 more. So a y-intercept is going to be that starting point. She makes $6 just for gas money, no matter how many hours she babysits, right? Whatever you start at is going to be your y-intercept. And what's really interesting is that's kind of when we learn how to graph these equations, when we come back from Thanksgiving here. We're going to talk about this is our starting point. This is going to be our how we start graphing from this spot. So I'll flip back over here real quick. If I just drew a line, maybe something like and I ask you what the y-intercept is, all right, we are always just going to be looking for this point where it crosses the y-axis. All right, don't get confused by this point. We're only looking for the y-axis if it's a y-intercept. So in this case, you would just say that the y-intercept is 5. Right? If the y-intercept crosses below the origin, like down here, for example, like there, then when we look for our y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here, that's going to be negative. So our y-intercept is just going to be negative 6. So the idea of a y-intercept is pretty straightforward. We're just looking at where is that thing going to cross the y-axis? Where is my situation going to start? Where is the x value going to equal 0? All right, your workbook page today is pretty good. Like as far as like going through all that, make sure you turn that in for tomorrow. And then, yeah, I don't know if I probably won't post a video tomorrow. I'll probably just give you something to work on. And then, so that means if I don't talk to you, you guys make sure you have a great Thanksgiving, stay safe, and stay healthy. All right? Have a great day.